Welcome guys to our first series in this channel. We will be solving problems, basic problems related to integers, strings, arrays, and then hopefully later on we will be publishing new series maybe related to algorithms and data structures, linked lists, problems related to linked lists, trees. So we'll be posting hopefully once a week. So if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to the channel. And let's begin with our first problem here. Here we have to count how many digits in an integer and how to reverse it, how to reverse the integer, and we want to know if this integer is a palindrome. So first of all, just if you don't know what a palindrome is, it's just the same. If the word is spelled backward the same, that means it's a palindrome. For example, I see a lot of example here. This example, race car, for example, race car is spelled backwards, race car. Also we have Anna, and we have also this number 12321 12321 12321. So we will be given a number like that and we want to check if it's a palindrome. But first we need to know how many digits are in the integer. So I'm using here JavaScript, but you can obviously use any language that you're comfortable with. So basically here we write a function. It will take a number and we want to count the digits of this number. But first, let me explain you the math behind counting the digits of a number. Let's say, for example, we have this number 1, 2, 3, 4, and you divide this number by 10. After flooring this number, we'll use this JavaScript function math.floor. You will get all the numbers but the last. So it's like that. And if you repeat the process here, the number will be 1, 2, 3, and you will divide it by 10 and you will get 1, 2. You repeat the process. 1, 2 divided by 10 is 1, and then 1 divided by 10 is just 0. So now what we need to do is we want to count how many times we will get to 0 basically. So we'll need a recursive function to do so. So first of all, let's define a variable called temp. We will store the floor of the number, which is the number divided by 10. So now this variable will hold 1, 2, 3. And we need to repeat this process until we have 0. So we will be calling the function again, but in the next line. But here we want to check if this number, which is the number divided by 10, which is the temp, is it equal to 0? Because if it's equal to 0, that means we're finished, we're done, right? And we want to return some type of counter, right? So if we define here a counter, for example 0, and as I told you, I will be using a recursive call, so we will be calling this function again and again until it's 0. So it will be initializing the counter to 0 every time, and we don't want that. So what we can do here is we can pass the counter as a parameter at the beginning with the value of 0. And increase it in every time we perform this function, because in every time we can perform this function, it means it's still not 0, right? So if it's 0, we're really in the end, right? So what we need to return, we need to return the counter. But if it's not, what we'll do is we call the function, we will make the recursive call, right? So what's the recursive call is we call this number, which is the new number, which is, for example, here in the first will be 1, 2, 3, and then we will pass it with the counter. The counter is just the current counter, and it will be increasing in the next call. So now let's test this function console.log, and we want to test this function, for example 1 2 3 4, and let's test this function, and it's not a number because I didn't pass the counter here. I need to pass it like as 0. As you can see, we get 4. If we tried 5 6 7 8, as you can see, we get 8. Cool. So now this is the first function, which is the count, and the second function we need to write is the reverse. Right? We need to reverse the integer. So it's the same, it will take the number, but we need to reverse it. Now we have a different concept, which is, let's say we have this number 1 2 3 4, and if we take the remainder of 10, we will get basically the last digit, which is 4. And after dividing this number by 10, 1 2 3 4, we will get 1 2 3, and we will take the remainder of it, which will be equal to 3. And we will repeat this process, right, until we get the last, or basically the first digit. So here it's 2, and here it will be 1, right? So as you can see here, we have the numbers in reverse: 4 3 2 1. So what we need to do is to store the numbers in each process. We need to store the numbers somewhere in an array. For example, I'll call it result, and it will be at first it will be an empty array, and here I'll just be using a for loop. I'll be using just a for loop, and here I is equal to 0, and I is less than what? We need to iterate through all the numbers, right? So basically the count of the digits. That's why I wrote the function count digits before. So we need the count of the digits. So how we get that is by calling the function the number and this the counter. This is how we get the length. So if it's less than the length. Now we need to do this operation, which is basically we need to get this number, right, and insert it here. So we can use here result.push, which is inserting to this array. And what is the number is just the number remainder 10. If we now return the result, let's test what's happening here. Let's say this number, and as you can see, we have 4 4 4 4 because we didn't update the number. So we need to update the number, and how we can update it is as we used before. It's like that. Basically it is same as this. So it's equal to math.floor the number divided by 10. So now let's say what's the result. It's 4 3 2 1. It's the same as this. 4 3 2 1. This is what happened. But now I don't want 4 3 2 1. I want just one number, right? And we can use the JavaScript function join to do so. And as you can see now, we have this number 4 3 2 1, which is reversed. But we have a small problem here, which is this number is actually a string, right? So if we write type of, and then it will be a string, and we don't want that. So a simple way is, you can, for example, in Java, you can parse this and make it an integer, but in JavaScript it's really easy using the ES6 syntax, which is just plus, and all of a sudden it's a number. This is the power of JavaScript. And now we get a number, even if you can see is changed the colors. So we're left with just one function, which we will be doing just one line, which is checking if there's a palindrome. So a palindrome is basically the same number. The two numbers are the same, which is the number itself and the reverse number. So what we need to do is, let's define a function called check pal, and it will take a number. It will check if this number is really equal to the same number in reverse, and if that's true, it's the palindrome. So call check pal 1 2 3 4. It should give us false. Yes, it does. And if you write 1 2 3 2 1, this is a palindrome. It should give us true. Yeah, so that's it. And if you like the video, please press the like button, and if you want to see such content, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video.